Well, we're back after the Zoom time out there, and we'll let Doris continue talking about what she was talking about, her new album.
Yes, we were talking about the new blues album that we're going to do. We're kind of hoping that we'll get a few blues festivals or something like that. It's really hard to say. I mean, it depends if people like it or don't. It's a very different market for us because all the people who generally review our albums are mostly progressive magazines and progressive radio stations. So we'll have to approach a whole bunch of people who probably don't know who I am, which will be exciting. I mean, why not?
Well, definitely send it to me because I'm a blues fan, and I'll put it in a progressive rock online magazine any day because blues is important.
Fantastic.
And it's important to progressive rock, and some of those bands I mentioned, Traffic, and there's many. Jethro Tull. If you listen to the first couple albums of Jethro Tull, you'll think that he was born in Louisiana. But anyway, go. Sorry.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not a very depressive person. I know blues is usually, down and out and all the worst things that can possibly happen. So Lee knows this already. I tend to write about other people because I'm quite emotionally balanced, shall we say. So I've structured my life so that there's not an awful lot of drama that goes on in it. So I get inspired by other people's stories and other people's situations and things in the news and I mean, there's so much out there. You don't need to be miserable in order to write the blues, but I'm also fascinated by all the first world problems.
Yeah,
things like I mean, the other day I got a blister on my thumb whilst hoovering. Or my fish tank guy couldn't come because he had a fish emergency. These are such first world problems. So why not? So I've put some of that into the blues album. Like when the Wi-Fi isn't working, it's like almost the end of the world, and it's so upsetting. But it's not. It doesn't really matter, But yeah, we keep having little power cuts where I am, and it's so frustrating because oh God, I was watching something and now I've got to wait for everything to kick up again for 15 minutes. These are just awful things that will spoil your entire day. And so like I say, there's a bit of that in the blues album. I find it very difficult not to be just a little bit tongue-in-cheek about stuff.
Anything you want to add to that, Lee?
I've not come from a blues background at all, it's interesting to play a different genre. It's interesting to see how you push yourself to be something perhaps that you're not, or something different, or something that pushes it. Strangely enough, the blues to play on guitar seems really easy, but to make it really sing, it's one of the hardest things to play. It was really hard because a lot of the time, the more you overplay, the more it doesn't sound right with blues. It's almost like the less you play. And if you're a busy player, I mean, as Dos said earlier, I come from like a metal background and prog, and that's lots of notes. It's normally a lot of information, and all of a sudden, I remember I read recently that B.B. King said to Gary Moore after he did Still Got the Blues. B.B. King said to Gary Moore, if you play this album will go great if you play literally 1/10 of the notes that you're playing. Because I mean, he didn't, because the album's amazing anyway with his playing on it, because but compared to the other players on that particular album, he was massively overplaying, but Gary Moore's so good that he pulls it off,
but Dave Gilmour is for me one of the best blues guitarists. I mean, Pink Floyd, one of the amazing things about it is some of those guitar solos, which are just they're blues guitar solos, and they're just amazing, and they sing.
Yeah, it's all arpeggio notes. It's all the beautiful notes. I mean, Jimmy Page does it as well. Every now and again, he just think, "Oh, you're just pulling out the lovely notes all of the time. There's no, there's no rubbish in there. It's all beautiful notes, you know." And that songwriting, because when you get the chord sequence of what to play over, that in itself helps. You know, you've got Slash from Guns N' Roses. He does a similar thing. He's quite bluesy in his playing. He can, you know, but he's only as good as the chord sequence that you give him for him to play over. And I'm hoping that obviously once I start getting into analysing Doris's songs a little bit more, that my guitar playing can then open up new avenues that I've not sort of gone down before, of not how many notes and how quickly you can play, but instead trying to unlock the best notes and the nicest rhythms to make it really, really sing.
But one of the songs you actually wrote, I mean, there's one blues song which is sat in, I've got folders of stuff because we write so much that never actually makes it to an album. Very prolific. And there was one which was this labeled Lee Blues, which is sat in a folder for a few years. And I kind of went, oh, doing a blues album, I need to look at this. So that's one of the tracks is and that's got a sort of Gary Moore kind of feel about it.
Yeah, I think I was listening to something like "Still Got the Blues," the actual song, and I thought he's always the Parisian walkways, that sort of feel where you have a guitar line that's really strong, that you can latch onto to make the song as a hook line with the guitar. And I wanted to try that out. To be honest with you, Doris, I can't remember what I sent you, so I don't know if it's any good or not.
Well, I've sent it back, so yeah.
Well, good.
It's in there. It's in the folder.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I need to.
The other thing is that Sam Brown said she was going to play some Hammond for us, which is
yeah,
great.
Hammond keyboard.
So otherwise we're not entirely sure who's going to be playing on it yet, and possibly we're going to be doing a lot of stuff ourselves. It's a bit experimental because it's out of the usual scope of what we do. We've actually got enough songs for another proggy album sitting there waiting.
We wrote during lockdown. We wrote 2 albums worth, didn't we?
Well, more, but I think some of the songs we kind of gone there, you know. They've gone into the probably will never do file, but yeah, we wrote 2 full albums of stuff that would have worked. Wow. Definitely.
Let me ask you this: when do you think this blues album will see the light of day? Is that a year?
It'll be within a year, I would have thought.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it takes a while.
It'll take too long to do.
Yeah, I mean, Lee does guitar teaching and other things as well, and you know, so and he's a dad, and it's amazing how long it takes to do anything. This last album ended up taking 3 years, but then that's 3 years with obviously there's the production and the mixing and the mastering, and then the run up to the marketing and so there's quite a lot that goes on. The one thing that Lee's doing, he's at long last. He's building his own website.
Yes, I am. It's so nearly completed. It's unbelievable. I reckon I'll finish it tomorrow with a bit of help from, because Doris, you might not know this, but another one of her talents is computers and anything to do with websites and stuff like that. She's a whiz at it. She loves it.
Well, no, I don't love it. I love it doing what I want it to do. And the thing is, nowadays, if you want it done right, do it yourself. So I've done marketing courses, and I can bore anyone to tears about music marketing. and like I said, I've really been getting into AI and AI artwork, which is just it's just I've been losing days on this stuff, but it's fascinating. I'm not going to get depressed about it and what it might do to the industry and how many jobs it's going to take. I'm just enjoying it right now, and we'll see where it goes. You know, I can't wait till I'll be able to do whole AI videos and things. I really can't wait.
Let's come back to the album real quick, and sure. I just want to normally, and I'm not going to do that, but normally I take people through each song step by step. I want to break that routine because nobody wants to sit and listen to that, and nobody wants to actually have to do that. So pick your favorite songs, and I know that's always tough because it's picking children, but Pick one of your favorite songs that you would like to talk about.
Shall I start? Or
Yeah, go for it,
because
go on.
we know we've talked about this between us, and we never like our favorite songs are never the ones that are everybody else's favorite songs. So one of my favorites is "I Saw You." It's got vocally, it's got a massive range. It's actually a very hard one to sing, and it's got 5 steps of harmonies as it goes along. So I'm very proud of the way it's structured, but I really love what Lee's done with it as well. That sort of Kashmiri sort of chorus, and yeah, I really like the vibe of that song. That's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, the Kashmir, the chorus part of that song with the it's got like an orchestra sat behind the guitars, just makes it sound massive. It's a really lovely vibe, that song, for sure. Trying to find one song, I'll quickly say that song 2, "Bet the Devil You Know," is probably the single. It's the rock song. It's got all the guitar solos in it. It punches a good punch all the way through. It's a real good
and it's quite
song.
euphoric. It's quite euphoric.
It's a good one to play live. You know, it really does uplift, for sure. "Good Deeds of the Day" is a really weird one to put on the album for me, but I really like the way that it came out, because it was really down and dirty. It was like a country and western drunkard who's sitting in the gutter spewing up whatever he ate last night while he was, it's just got that horrible feel about it that just enthralls you to listen more as the song goes on, even though it's quite repetitive, but it's got that sort of vibe.
It's like a tramp or somebody. It's somebody who's right at the bottom, and he's done loads of really bad things. He's done some real bad shit, and he's now has got the rest of his life to try and atone for it. That's what that is.
Prog wise, the songs for sure is a Ghost. That song in particular, I really love that song. It's just got loads of parts to it that it takes you on a journey, and the journey is a really good one. I really like that song. Is it sort of is it just an album track, or is it really memorable? I'm not sure.
But with Ghost, see, Ghost hasn't really been picked as a favorite by any reviewers, or so far anyone I've spoken to, and this is typical, because our favorites are never anyone else's. And I have to say that this is a song that Lee wrote primarily. I wrote the words, and it sort of came in, but it was it's a track that a bass player friend of ours who came to Lee's studio, and they just jammed around and recorded things, called Sparky. He came around, and they sort of did that together, and it was sitting in a file for about 6 years, something like that.
Long gone,
5 or 6 years, and it was on my computer, and I said, Lee, we need to revisit that track, because I really like the vibe of that track. We need to do something with it. And so we finally did, and it's great, and it's so interesting, and it's different, and again, I like the way the words came out. I think it's quite fun. It would make a great video, but it would be a video that needs a budget, unfortunately. So but yeah.
I think so. "Rock on a Hard Place" is like a funk. I wasn't sure about that one either, because that was like a funk song, like a proper funk rock song that sort of stood out in a funny sort of way. But by the time I'd finished with it, it sort of went off into a progtastic 70s middle 8 part that was just amazing. I love it.
I love that. And I said to the guys, we need to do this live. And we did it. We had a couple of festivals earlier in in the summer, in September, and I said, we need to learn that for and everyone went, really? And I said, no, listen, trust me, this is a track I've been waiting to do live. And we did it in the rehearsal, and oh my God, did it blow the cobwebs out. It's got so much energy. It is really good fun to play live. I love it. It's like a funk rock prog fusion.
It is. It's a really weird combination, but it works so well.
I'm surprised neither of you said "Truth Needs No Colors." I really like the theme and the lyrics on that one. I mean, I liked the whole album, but
I found that one really difficult. That song was really difficult to make sound not hard to play
Yeah.
because that song's so hard to play. The time signature in it are
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's
My
stupid.
fault. My fault. I did it on the piano. See, on the piano, I do some strange things because I can't play the piano very well. So accidents happen, and sometimes they sound really good. And I go, "Oh, let's do something with that." And I MIDI stuff up, and so I sent the song part of it, so the song bit to Lee. And I remember I sent him a clip on Messenger, and I said, "Oh, I quite like this." And Lee went, "Yeah, I might have to simplify that a bit." Time signatures all over the place, but he ended up not simplifying it at all.
No, I managed to simplify the beat. And suddenly, it's one of those beats where if you keep going round enough times, it comes back round on itself to hit beat 1 again. And I suddenly realised that if the drummer just plays a straight sort of a straightish beat over underneath it, eventually it comes back round on itself, and you go, "Oh, there's beat 1 again," every now and again. So once I'd figured that out, the drums actually make the song not sound complex, even though you're probably playing in 13/9 or some stupid time signature that I don't know. Because I don't think I ever sat down and worked out exactly what you played, Does, because it was a real weird one. That was real
But it's
weird.
got a really good vibe.
It sounds
I mean,
great. I love it. I think it sounds really, really good. It's got a
yeah.
new video for it that you did with all the colours, didn't you, as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
You
Yes, it
did
looks
that?
like somebody's been sick with colours.
Multi-sync, yeah.
But yes, I did that. I put that together myself. I do a lot of this. This is me, the computer nerd. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then we did on the album as well. Which, strange enough, I was not expecting people to choose or people to like the 3 sort of ballads that we've got on there. I knew that Still Waters was a really, really, really strong song. And
Yes.
it is. I love the ending of Still Waters. I still do. The ending of the vibe of it, of the guitars, and that last little bit with the whispers of the Still Waters Run Deep, and the actual song. It's a very bluesy song in a funny sort of
Yeah.
way. It is bluesy.
That was one of my favorites, yeah.
Yeah, lots of people like that one. I knew they would like that one, but I was surprised by the reaction of Raw Track and White Rose because White Rose nearly didn't go on the album. I nearly took it off because I didn't like it that much.
Was both me and Lee. When we said what's the least favorite track, it was White Rose, and I said, "Yeah, but you know what?" I said to Lee, "It's one of those songs with the whistle, and it's got that slightly folky Celtic feel." And I said, "I think it needs to go on the album."
Yes.
Because people often like
that.
that kind of thing, and virtually every reviewer has picked that song as one of their favorites.
Yeah, we need to do a ballads album, Doz. I think.
Yeah, thank you for putting that one on there. That is, I'm one of those people that loved it. Yeah.
I like the lyrics and I like the sentiment because it's one of, I don't write a lot of love songs. If I want to write a love song, I feel like I have to spoil it somehow, you know. And but this one I kept, it's not about me. I don't have a lifelong partner. I don't, but it's beautiful. Some people manage it and it can be really, really beautiful. And it was just the thought of walking through life with someone, and there's different stages in your life of, you know, the excitement of childhood, and then the sort of the steadiness and hard work of adulthood, and then the sort of slowing down at the end and doing everything with one person. And I just thought, yeah, it's quite beautiful in that sense.
I got to do some vocals on that as well.
Yes, I wrote it as a duo.
You did a duet, yeah. We sing it together.
Well, let me ask you this, not to steer away, but who are your influences, and who would you like to collaborate with if you could just open a book and pick somebody and say, these guys are going to be on my album?
Ooh, that's a hard one. That
it's so difficult. I'd love to tour with Muse or Radiohead. Love to. Never going to happen, but I would love that. Collaboration is very difficult because some people are fantastic, but that doesn't mean you can work with them.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of trial and error there. Some people you work with and you just don't gel at all. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's quite a hard one, really. I think we're so caught up with what we do. I'm not sure that I really think much about the collaboration side of it. I don't think I've ever sat down and thought to myself, I want to collaborate with someone else. Or, I mean, if it was for me to collaborate with another guitar player, I don't know. I don't know how what would complement what.
Yeah.
What depends on the song, I guess, and it depends on what you wanted to write. So, I mean, obviously, you know, as listening to guitarists, it's literally in the eye of the beholder on who's the greatest guitar player of all time. You know, some people say it's Eric Clapton, and other people will say it's Steve Vai, and other people say it's neither. It's some, you know, it's the
Hendrix.
gypsy guitar player from wherever. So it's just, it can be whatever you want it to be, but it has to have
Ah,
context.
but what singer would you like to work with if it wasn't me?
Who's a great singer? Let me think. You'd have to say someone like Robert Plant in his day, someone like that. I mean, just someone who's got that vocal, or Chris Cornell probably from
Yeah,
Soundgarden.
there you go. Yeah, he was.
His voice was he could just make his voice turn to anything. He had that lovely soft tone that if he wanted to screech it out, he could. And it was just effortless. Every time I went to see him play, I saw him play quite a lot in festivals and stuff that you go and watch. And every time I watched him, he just didn't even look like he was trying. It's like, but your voice sounds like it's just about to crack where you are giving it that. It feels like you're giving it that much, but you couldn't even see, like when someone's giving it some, you can see sort of the veins on their neck, or you can sort of see the vocal cords through their neck, especially because he wasn't, you know, overweight or anything. You can sort of see his facial expressions, but you just couldn't even see that. It's like, how do you make that noise without trying? That's really annoying.
I think John Anderson and Eddie Vedder too.
Yeah.
Eddie's got that blues, which, you know, you look at his age and you're like, this guy couldn't possibly, but yeah, he does. He does. And he could have fit right in, you know, to the 30s, 40s, 50s blues. And at the same time, you know, the grunge, obviously. But John Anderson just takes everything a mile high too. And why he's not in that band, anyway, let's not get political, but to me, it's the biggest mistake one of these leading bands has made. But anyway.
Yeah, I did. A lot of the time, if a good vocalist, I mean, when I very first got together with Doris, and when I did some recording for her, a good vocalist, it's not only about being able to hit the notes, it's basically the sound of the voice. If you've got a vocalist that is immediately recognizable because no one else sounds like you, then in my eyes, you can't really go wrong, because as soon as someone hears that on any album or any recording, they immediately know who it is. And it can be anyone from, you know, a pop song. It can be from George Michael, or from someone in the rock world, but to Axl Rose, you know. But the point is, as soon as you hear them singing, you go, I know who that is. And as soon as that happens, then, you know, you're 3/4 of the way there. It doesn't matter really whether they're brilliant or not. You got someone like Macy Gray, for instance.
Oh yeah.
I mean, she's got such a weird voice.
Yeah.
But if she sang on any record, you know who it was.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you? You just go, I know who that is.
Yeah.
The thing with the two that I mean, there's so many more I could talk about, but the two that I mentioned also bring in stories. Eddie Vedder, dark side stories. John Anderson, just the opposite, those high-minded. I mean, they have the voice, obviously, but then those extra stories that they bring in, and it's just,
It just adds the sprinkles on the cake, the topping.
Yeah.
There you go.
Icing. Yeah.
But see, I'm very lucky that Lee likes my voice, because I'm very critical of my voice. You know, I feel all the things that it won't do. You know, people say you got big range, but I haven't really, and it's not as controlled as I'd like it to be. And you know, I'm very, very, very critical. But one thing I do know is that I don't sound like anybody else.
Well, the only one I'd ever compare you to, and it took a while to try to figure out who it was, and I don't know why, because I loved her music for a long time. But Kim Carnes, I think you sound similar. No, not exactly the same. I think you have extra dimensions to you. But Kim Carnes from the United States, for those of you that, you know, live over here, you're well aware of Betty Davis eyes, and that's about as close. I think in the review I compared you to Bob Dylan, which was asinine when I think about it, but you have that kind of nasal kind of twang, which is just awesome. to hear from a female. But I think Kim Carnes is much closer.
Do you know what I mean? One thing that is so you're saying Kim Carnes, because of the music that we play, all of the bands that we are generally put into a big hat in with, you know, if you said, well, what other bands would a Doris Brendel listener like? They're all male prog bands. They're all like Porcupine Tree and Steve Wilson and, you know, all sorts of people. And it's really confusing because then you're going, well, hang on a minute, because I'm a female singer. So it's almost like people are either a blues fan or they're a prog fan, and the two shall never meet. And we've got this combination of the two things. So it's a really odd combination to have that. But people say Elkie Brooks or they say Janis Joplin. These are all kind of blues singers, really.
Mm-hmm.
You get Skunk Anansie a lot, don't you, as well?
Not a lot.
I can't see that at all. I just can't see that at all. Your voice does not sound anything like Skunk Anansie at all. But so many people say that. Now, I don't know whether it's just because it's the only girl band that they can think of in that sort of genre of rock, or, you know, it's
the same with Janis Joplin. People say Joplin. It's because they think what white female singer goes really raunchy, has a raunchy voice, and our voices are completely different.
Yeah.
If you actually listen to them side by side, they are completely different. But it's just the white husky singers, and there's just not that many of them.
No,
it's not. Weird. Just do loads of shows. If you're a white female singer out there who's got a nice clean voice, just do loads of shows and absolutely screw up your vocal cords, and then you get to sound like me.
Smoke 100 cigarettes a day.
Yeah, you know, drink whiskey.
Who are your influences, both of you?
Well, with me, the things I listened to were to shake my age, Led Zeppelin, Free, Pink Floyd, very much, not for the voice but for the music, and lots of other things like James Brown and you know, just the Police, and just great songwriters, great, you know, really eclectic taste. So I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly where my influences come from, but it's just a combination of lots of great stuff that was around. And I say later, Radiohead, really like oh god, and this is where I forget everybody's name. It'll come back to me, but yes, I mean, odd stuff. I generally like people and bands that have got something really original going on, you know, really got their own sound.
I started listening to Dire Straits when I was younger. That was Mark Knopfler's guitar playing did it for me. As soon as I heard that, I was like, wow, he's another one who can pick the notes out of a hat and make it sing. And I was like, wow, I want to play like that. You know, then that led on to
if you haven't heard Telegraph Road,
exactly. Telegraph Road, what a song. I mean, it's like 12 minutes or something, but it's just 12 minutes of excellence. It's fantastic. Yeah, I constantly listen to that album. That's got what's the other one as well? Private Investigations.
Investigation.
The guitar solo to that on the end when he plays it. The guitar solo is amazing. It's lovely. Really, really good.
I was trying to think of a heavier band that I like. System of a Down. I really like.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, just they're really different. When you listen to the whole album, it's like it's again, it combines really great singing with little bits of metal and bits of the, you know, it's just really,
they're
really
very
great.
different, aren't they?
Very different. Yeah.
Yeah. No, exactly.
So yeah, hard to say. Again, no one influence, no, you know, just and I was brought up on classical music and Bulgarian folk music, and I don't know, all sorts of weird stuff. But again, there's a nice thing about working with Lee is that Lee has also got lots of different influences, and he's not closed-minded to new things. Like with on the last album we did, an Eclectica album we did, what's that track, Retribution. There's this big ending that Lee wrote. It's one of his songs, which sounds like a sort of Bulgarian choir And it's one of
Yeah.
my favorite bits. It's awesome. Again, no reviewers mentioned it or anything, but to me, that is just one of the really awesome bits that of recordings. And Lee's voice is even best for it. I said, no, I don't want to use my voice for that. You need to use your voice, because it actually works for that section. So yeah, it's great to be able to just put in all these different influences, though, like I say, other people, it confuses other people, sadly.
Yeah, Osric Tentacles. I really got into them. I don't know if you've ever heard of those in
Yeah.
America. Are
I've
they big
heard,
over
oh
there?
no, yeah, they're big over here.
Yeah, the album Strangertude. They did one album in particular which really pushed the boundaries, and that album Strangertude by Osric Tentacles was just phenomenal. The guitar playing on it and the musicianship on it, and the rhythm section, everything. You know, every band has their one album that just everything seems to come in line at the right time to make a great album. That album for me, I just thought that album was so clever, so good. So yeah, I started to go and see them live and watch. I can't remember what the guy's name, Ed, someone or other, the guitar player. But he was just effortless. He could play, and he would literally be playing the guitar and playing the keyboard at the same time. And I'm like, that's just brilliant. Really good stage show. But
Stop
no
showing
singing.
off.
Yeah, no vocalist. It's literally just music. So that
Wow,
sort of
yeah.
thing I was really interested in, because it's how do you keep someone's imagination when there's no voice? It's literally music
Yeah.
only.
Yeah.
And theatrics on stage. There were the flutist,
Oh, wow.
Flautist.
Yeah, he would do mime on stage.
Oh,
I don't know
wow.
if you saw him, but he would do mime, but it was captivating, because
Yeah.
he obviously couldn't say anything, and he was just an odd character. They were all odd characters that helps you listen to the music through a whole gig.
Yeah.
So yeah, that opened my eyes to, okay, so music can take you somewhere for an hour and a half without you thinking to yourself, oh, there's no vocals. I didn't miss it, which opened my eyes into musicianship, and into writing songs or melodies without vocals, which probably helps in writing middle eights and different bits and pieces in the material that we do now. Yeah, so they definitely opened my eyes into a world of soundscape.
Let me ask you the big question, I guess. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you guys want to talk about?
If you don't turn us off, we'll talk forever.
Oh, no, that's all right. No.
I can't talk forever because my cat has been scratching my bottom for the last 10 minutes going, feed me. Getting attacked by a tomcat. But no, I mean, like I say, there are 3 million things to talk about, but it's so great when people show an interest in what we do, because we put a lot of heart and soul into it, a lot of time, a lot of energy. Personally, I put a lot into the artwork and to the visuals as well, and there's nothing better than getting great feedback and getting people to listen and to look and to enjoy what we do.
It for. Definitely what it's there for. If you want to go and check us out, you can go to dorisbrendel.com, where you can buy all the albums and everything that you need to know about gigs, and whatever you need to know is on there. My new website is leedunhammusic.com. You can go on there and have a look and see what I've been up to. We're trying our best to try and get on as many gigs and tours. Unfortunately, it's slow going at the moment, but it'll change. It always does. And we'll be doing the HRH festivals as well that are coming up.
Yeah, we're doing the award ceremony, which is well, we're playing at the start, and then we'll probably get very drunk sitting at a table and
probably
yes, have drunken pictures of us. And next year we're doing
some. Is that the Prague Awards show?
Yeah,
yeah. The Prague Magazine award show. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So yeah, we're playing on that. We've been asked, and we're playing on the Friday at the Prague Festival, and and next year we will be doing some acoustic shows. Me and Lee do some acoustic shows, which are more conversational, and we both play guitars, and so we'll definitely be doing a few more of those next year, which is a kind of cheaper way of putting on some shows, but it's actually really good fun. I've been enjoying it much more than I thought I would, and so that's our year ahead.
Sounds good. Well, I'm glad to hear you guys are going to be touring, and hopefully one of those days you'll make it over here, we'd love to see you. I know there's an audience for you over here. How do your albums sell over here in the US?
Only not massively. You know, we're not big artists, unfortunately. You know, it's
I think you are in England or in the UK anyway.
it's all relative. It's a tough way to make a living. You know, it's not easy, and it takes a hell of a lot of work. But yeah, unfortunately, we don't sell enough to pay for a tour. We would do if somebody invited us to do a big enough festival. I think we'd come over and do that. But to do a whole tour, I mean, I know we've toured with Wishbone Ash, and they do American tours, and they lose money on that sometimes, and they've got a much bigger audience than we have over there. So unfortunately, it's seriously tough at the moment to make any money touring, sadly.
And Brexit doesn't help, right?
Oh no, it's hideous. Yeah.
After COVID, Brexit was the final nail in the coffin for lots and lots of bands. As you know, unless you're the Who don't really care because it doesn't impact them in any way because they're that big. You know.
Oh, he's been complaining.
Oh, he changed his tune, has he? Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But you
He said,
know,
I didn't realise.
you're an average band to a smaller size band, you know, your profits are really hard to make ends meet with the amount of people that want to come out and the amount of people that you know, that want to spend money. You know, it sort of seems to be one thing after another. You had COVID, then it was Brexit, and now over here there's a sort of a general rise in the prices of everything.
Yeah.
Which means people haven't got the extra money that they did have to go and buy your album, or you know, they'll come and see you play, but the t-shirt that they would have bought, they can't afford it. And you've got to remember that when you're touring, that's basically everything that we need to manage to make a profit, you know. And it's the same for any bands. If anyone's listening to music on Spotify, you know, you've got to realize that no one's earning any money from that except for one guy at the top. And if you can, Doz has said it millions of times, which is if you like something on Spotify and you like what you're listening to, then do the decent thing and go and buy the album. It's okay.
Well, I'll just say, if you want to listen to it again, please buy it.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's just the downloads or whatever, it's not expensive, but it helps artists like us to make more music. That's it.
Yeah, if you can buy it from the website as well, from the band's website, it means that all the money goes straight to them, and then they you know, you will see them do tours, and you will see them being better. You know, we can then do a tour if we know that we've got enough money to do so. But you know, trying to do a tour and coming out thousands under profit is not going to be. You just can't keep it up. You just can't do it.
So, and look at how wonderful all these look.
Exactly.
The artwork is worth it alone, but yeah, no, the music is fantastic. You'll live with it forever, and then you're not stuck waiting for some website if they decide, well, we don't want to play this music anymore. You still have it, and you have control. Yeah,
exactly. You're absolutely right. Physical things.
Right, I think we're nearly out of time. Less than 1 minute remaining.
Wow.
All right. Well, hey, thank you very much for taking the time and effort. That's the other thing. These guys have so much going on in their lives. They'd like to just sit back and maybe drink coffee or do all those other things that Doris mentioned. And thanks for taking more than an hour out of your day to talk with me, and hopefully all the people that will be watching this. But yeah, please get out there, pick up this album. You got me going on that blues album. I'm definitely in on that one. Please send me a copy when you're done. And yeah, just give these guys a chance. It's very good music. And anything else you guys want